All right, so for this game, it looks like we have what is largely just an in and out game. So there's a bunch of these toy dinosaurs. There are 7 in total, and then some of them are simply going to be in, specifically 5 are going to be in, and 2 of them are going to be out. Now we do also have to keep track of the colors, green, mauve, red, or yellow, but for that we'll just use subscripts just because it's a little inconvenient to use a second here in this kind of setup. So in terms of the elements themselves, we have ILP, and then we have STUV. And we also have to worry about the colors. We have GMRY, and we don't actually know which ones are which, so that's going to be part of the game. We also have numbers. We know that there's going to be 5 of these that are going to be on the inside, and there's going to be 2 that are out. Now, right away, the fact that there's only 2 spaces on the outside, that's a really restrictive kind of component, and that's something that's definitely worth keeping an eye on. The fact that there's not a lot of room outside is probably going to do quite a bit. Anyways, the rules. So the first rule, exactly 2 mauve toys are included, so I guess we can say something like exactly 2 mauves are in, and we can also leave a little set of placeholders that 2 of these are going to be mauve. Next, the S is in and it's red, so S red has to be in, and we can also plug that red into the board. And it's worth noting, because it's a different color, we now kind of have reserved 3 spaces on the inside. I mean, obviously we don't know exactly which ones these are, but we do have a partial kind of setup whereby we know they're mauve. So there's really only 2 completely open spots still remaining. Next, I is included only if it's green. So in other words, if we have an I, then it's going to have to be a green I. And even that we can kind of incorporate into what we have, at least on some level, because if I is in, you'll notice that it's not going to be in one of these 2 spots. It's going to have to be in one of the only 2 remaining spots. So it's going to have to be kind of, we don't have a lot of room for where we could fit that I. Next, the P is included only if it's yellow. Same kind of thing. If we have a P, it's going to have to be yellow, which means it's going to have to take up one of our last 2 spots. In fact, if you have both of these guys, then they're going to completely lock out these 2, and then we just know that we're going to have the 2 mauves remaining. Next, the V is included only if the U is not. Now, only if, remember, introduces a necessary condition. So this basically translates into saying that not having U is necessary for V. So in other words, if we have V, then we don't have U, or in other words, if we have U, then we don't have V. Now we have an exclusive relationship here, which is huge because we only have 2 spaces on the outside. And according to this rule, at least one of those spaces is going to be taken up by U or V. Now, note, they can both be out. That's still possible, but at least one of them is going to have to definitely be out. So that's great. Lastly, if both the Lambeosaur and the Ultrasaur are included, then at least one of them is not mauve. Now, this is a bit of a complicated conditional statement, but when you come across these kinds of more convoluted conditional statements, try to think of essentially what they're stopping you from doing. What exactly are they restricting? And what they're restricting, simply what you can't have, is L and U both mauve on the inside. So we can simplify this rule to just say that we cannot have L and U both mauve on the inside, just to kind of clean up the rule a little bit. So I suppose if L and U are both in, then they're not going to be in these 2 positions. They're going to have to, at least one of them is going to have to go into one of those positions over there. So I suppose that's good. From here, I suppose we can kind of go further into the game. There doesn't seem to be too much that we can do. I mean, the fact that I and P, the fact that, again, they're going to take up one of these 2 spots if they are in. Oh, and actually, wait a minute. One of them will have to be in, won't they? Because we've already reserved 1 space on the outside for one of U or V. So as far as I and P are concerned, we can only ever fit one of them on the outside. So the other of the 2 will always have to be on the inside. So that's kind of nice. We can actually even kind of say that we can reserve a space for either an I green or a P yellow on the inside. Now note, again, they could perhaps both be in and take up both of these spots, but at least one of them will definitely have to be in that spot. All right, so from there, I guess let's see what we can do. The questions themselves. Number 12. What could be the complete setup of the toys? Now, this one largely plays out like an exclusion question, but it's worth noting that because we don't have the colors, it's not really a complete exclusion question. We're missing some of the information, so this might be a little bit tougher. But regardless, we'll still start with, you know, what we can do as a standard exclusion question. Now, the first rule we can't test because we don't have colors. The second rule, though, we have to have an S included. Let's see if anything violates that. A has one, B has one, C has one. D conveniently does not, so we can get rid of answer choice D. And E has one, so we're good. Next, the third and fourth rule, again, we can't really test them because we don't know the colors, so we'll let those slide for a moment. The fourth rule, sorry, rather the fifth rule, the velociraptor, this one we can test. Basically, we're not allowed to have both V and U on the inside. So let's take a look. Answer choice A has both of them. We can get rid of A. Answer choice B has just one, C has just one, and E has them both, so we also can get rid of answer choice E. So now we're down to B and C. Now the last rule we also can't really test because, again, we don't have the colors. So from there, I guess we're just left with B and C. Now, because we didn't have the colors, there's part of the game that we weren't able to test. So, you know what, let's just take a look at both of these answers and see what we can do with them. Answer choice B, could we have L, P, S, T, and U? You know, in fact, let's just kind of play it out. So the S would have to obviously be red. And then in terms of the P we know would have to be yellow. Now we have otherwise L, T, and U, except we know that L and U, they cannot both be mauve. So what's going to end up happening here is that one of them is going to have to be in this other position, whatever it is. And then the other one is going to have to, the other ones are going to have to be here. So this will be T and the other of L or U. But that's workable, isn't it? That seems fine. So we would have the V on the outside, and then whoever's left over, the I, would be on the outside. And that seems legit. So if you're comfortable with seeing that this works, then essentially answer choice B is the correct answer choice for number 12. Just in case though, let's take a quick look at answer choice C. Why does that one break? So we have what? We have I, L, P, S, T. So since we have S, I, and P, we know that S has to be red, I has to be green, and P has to be yellow. Here we go. And then who's left? We've got L and U left, but then L and U would end up in the two mauve positions, except they can't, right? We're not allowed to have L and U both mauve. So this scenario doesn't actually work. And once again, the best answer here is B for number 12. Next, question number 13. If T is not included, well, let's see what we can do with that information. If T happens to be out, well, right away, we already know that the other out is going to have to be U or V. So that's great because as soon as we do that, there's no more space on the outside. So now everybody else has to be in, including S, I, and P. And we know that I has to be green, P has to be yellow. And now we're just left with the two mauve toys. And one of them is going to have to be L because L has to be in. We don't have room on the outside. But the other cannot be a U. So as far as U and V are concerned, it's actually going to have to be the U who is out, and then the V is going to be in. So from there, the question now asks, we must have each except. A green I, we have to have one. A mauve V, we have to have one. A mauve L, we have to have one. A mauve U, we do not. In fact, U is out. And a yellow P, we definitely have to have one. So the best answer to question number 13 is D. Next, number 14 is global. Let's come back to this one in a moment. Let's take a look at 15. If the display includes a yellow T, so if we have a yellow T, so right away, we know that it's not going to go into these predefined mauve positions. So we're going to have a yellow T over here, except we also know that on the inside, we need room for one of I or P as well, right? Because they can't both be out. So we can reserve that space. And from there, what does that tell us now? I mean, we know that one of U or V has to be out. Oh, and I suppose one of I or P does as well, because we can't fit them both in. The other one wouldn't be able to go into a mauve position. So the other of I or P also now has to be out. So now everybody else, including L is going to have to be in, as well as the other of U or V, except it can't be U, again, because L and U can't both be mauve. So this is going to be a V, and then on the outside, it's just going to be a U. Let's just rewrite that. So the question now asks, what must be true? The I is included, not necessarily. The P is not included. Again, we're not 100% on that. The display includes 2 yellows. Now that could happen if this was a P, but it doesn't have to be. It could be an I, which would be a green, so that also doesn't have to be true. Answer choice D, the display includes a green L. No, it's a mauve L. And a mauve V, yes, that definitely has to be true. So the best answer to question number 15 is E. Next, question number 16. If both I and U are included, so once again, let's see what we can do with that information. Now we have our 2 mauve positions as usual. Now if I is in, it's going to be green because, well, that's the rule for I. Oh, but here it gets a little tricky. If U is also included, we don't know if it's mauve or if it's a different color. So there's a little bit more flexibility here. But at the very least, we know that U would kick out the V, so that's kind of nice. Now, depending on, is there anything else we can do outside of, and I'm not sure, because depending on where the U goes, if the U goes here, then that would kick out the P, but it doesn't have to, because if U is one of the mauves, which could still happen as long as L isn't a mauve. So you know what, let's split the board. Let's see what we can do with this, because it doesn't look like this is enough information to answer the question just yet, since the question is asking what we have to have and we haven't really figured anything out. Let's split it. We can say that the U is either going to go here or it's going to go there, and then we can see what we can do with that information. So either U is here, or alternatively, U is out. Sorry, not out, rather in the other color position. Now, in the second scenario, this is a bit easier. We know that if U is over here, then we can't fit a P inside. So we know that P would be out. And now everybody else, including L and T, would have to be in. So that's kind of nice. In the top scenario, though, I mean, obviously this cannot be an L. So L is going to go here or potentially out. Oh, but wait a minute. That's also true of P, isn't it? Because we know that P is not going to go here, right? So P is going to go here or P is going to go there. So really what we can do is we can kind of create a placeholder. We can say that for these 2 positions, they're going to be either L or P. We just don't know which one's which leads to the next point, which is that T has to be here. And that's probably going to be the answer, because you'll notice that that's true for both. So the question asks, what must be included? And that would be, there we go. Answer choice A, a mauve tyrannosaur has to be included no matter what. Next, question number 17. If we have 2 greens, well, if we have 2 greens, I suppose, first of all, that means that it's going to be these 2 positions, obviously, because these 2 are going to be mauves. And if we have 2 greens, we definitely know that P is not going to be in, because there's no room for a yellow P. So P is out. Or although actually on the outside, we're not really sure what color they are. And then we also have to have room for one of U or V on the outside as well, which is great. So that means now everybody else has to be in, including the green I. And so here it seems like we have a little bit of flexibility, because we can't have both L and U be mauve, but we could have L be mauve and U be out, or we could have L be in the green position. So we have a little bit of flexibility. You know what? Let's see what we can do with what we have. The question asks, what could be true? There's exactly 1 yellow. Well, no, there's no yellows on the board. Next, the T is included and it's green. Could we have a T over here? And maybe, as long as we don't have L and U, but you could do, for example, L and V, and then this could be the U. That seems legit, so maybe. Let's hold on to answer choice B. Answer choice C. No L and no V. Well, no, we have to. In fact, L has to be in because we can't fit them out. We just don't know exactly where. Next, neither T nor V. Well, no, T has to be in for sure. Answer choice E, neither U nor V. And no, we can only kick out one of them right now, not both. So the best answer for question 17 is B. Lastly, question number 14, our global. Which of the following is a pair of toys that could be in together? All right, let's take a look. Answer choice A, a green L and a mauve V. Now, in terms of just our general setup, I mean, a green L could go over here and a mauve V could go over there. And that seems pretty safe, doesn't it? It doesn't seem like it would break anything. Let's keep A open for now. Answer choice B, could we have a green L and a yellow T? Could we do that? And no, that wouldn't work because a green L and a yellow T would take up these two positions, and we know we need to reserve one of them for an I or a P. So B we can get rid of. Next, a green L and a yellow U. Could we do that? And no, same problem, because then it would take up these two positions, and then this guy wouldn't have any place to go. Answer choice D, a yellow T and a green U. Same problem. If we do a yellow and a green T and U, then they're going to take up these two slots, and we need to reserve one of them. So that's out. And lastly, a yellow T and a red V. And same problem. That would take up these two positions, and we need to reserve one of them. So that could work. Best answer is answer choice A for question number 14.